project contributions and leadership roles highlight his commitment to advancing both education and innovation. We are truly honored to have Dr. Patil with us today. On behalf of our organizing committee, I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. Now I request you to take over the session.
So current input and a process. Just we are giving our input, so that is what teaching staff, curriculum impact, labs and other resources. We are giving out the resources and other things. Teaching and learning, finally at the end, students at the graduation. We are least bothered whether the student pass or fail, whatever it is. In the olden days. So that is what it is, the traditional method. So assessment through what? Only the exams, tests and assignments. Quality of control is not achieved from teaching evaluation. It all depends on how you are going to assess. Whereas nowadays, it is in an outcome-based education, first an input, that is teaching staff, curriculum, labs and other resources. All these are assessment tests. Continuous internal evaluation. Throughout conducting exams, tests, assignments, and short and long term outcomes, lab exams, exit survey, thinking projects with analysis, feedback from the industry, alumni and other stakeholders, clear scope for continuous improvement studies. So we keep on conducting the continuous internal evaluation, continuous assessment. We keep on conducting. So after every model, we are going to conduct our test, isn't it? After the each model, sometimes we give an assignment. After each module, sometimes we conduct quizzes. So this is what continuous internal evaluation. Process, that is teaching learning. After the completion of each course, we used to write about the course outcomes. At the end of the course, the student will be able to so and so. I think some of you have taken what are the course outcomes. If you take any example of any of the courses, at the end of the course, the student will be able to understand so and so, apply so and so, analyze so and so. So through the keywords, we are going to learn, we are going to write about some of the course outcomes. That is what we call it as the revised Bloom's taxonomy. So based on the keywords, sometimes if you take about the complete course, we are going to write the course outcomes, or with respect to each individual model, we are going to write about the course outcomes. Course end outcomes and the program end outcomes. At the end, graduates to fulfill the stakeholders' satisfaction. Stakeholders are the employers, academic staff, public and the parents. So that is what a good are the characteristics of a good engineer. So that is what we have seen in the second slide. At the end, all those things will be what? Assessed. So this is what an outcome-based education. In a traditional base, it is in one way, whereas in case of outcome-based education, it is a two-way. We are going to assess and we are going to take out the feedback, whether the student has learned or not properly. After the, if you take an example of this FDP, at the end of the FDP, so what are all the outcomes? So that is what an outcome is. What is the outcome of a particular FDP? After the completion of the complete 1 week FDP, what are the outcomes? So that is what it is, an outcome-based education. We are going to assess based on what, giving award the quizzes, and we take award the feedback also. At the end of the sessions, we will take award the feedback. If there is an improvement, scope for improvement, definitely we are going to improve it. So this one, an outcome-based education. So outcome-based education for undergraduate programs, we have knowledge, skills, and the qualities. So that's what the triangle of success there. So then we give the triangle of success, goal setting, self-motivation, okay, time management, okay, so some of the success attributes of knowledge, skills, and attitudes they are given. That facilitates the graduates to acquire characteristics of a good engineer. So this is what the aspects of qualities. Next, outcome-based education, as I said. An outcome is what the learner will be able to do or perform as a result of some learning experience. We'll take this example of the FDP. After the completion of the FDP, 1 week complete FDP, the learner will be able to do or perform as a result of some learning experience. So something what we can go to a place and we can implement something. So that is what an outcome does. Next, an outcome of an education is what the student will be able to do at the end of the program or a course or some instructional unit. After each module, after each course, assume that if you take about one particular course like analog electronics, digital, whatever the course you take, at the end of the course, what you are going to learn at the end of the program or at the end of the course. So this is what an outcome-based education. Outcome-based education is an approach to education in which decisions about the curriculum are driven by the exact learning outcomes. So we are going to prepare a curriculum in such a way that depending upon the inputs, we are going to prepare our the curriculum. So that is what the meaning of this. At the end, it is in outcome-based education, the product defines the process. Characteristics of good engineers. Ultimately, at the end of the course, or at the end of the program, or at the end of the four-year engineering course, so we produce an engineer as a product. If he is a good quality engineer, that defines what the process. So that is what an outcome-based education is. So this is important. Product defines the process. So this is what an outcome-based education. So this is what OBE philosophy, focus on outcomes. So as per the OBE philosophy, we have 12 program outcomes. So recently they have changed 12 to 11. And what are the guides it is? First thing is curriculum design, based on what the industry needs, based on the inputs, we are going to design a curriculum and teaching and learning process. Finally, we are going to assess it. So this is what an outcome-based education. So what is outcome-based education? OBE is method of curriculum design and teaching that focuses on what students can actually do after they are taught. After the completion of this FDP, after we taught, so what students can actually learn. So first, why do you want them to learn it? So they have some vision. They have vision, PEOs and POs. Vision, assume that if you take particular this FDP, you have a vision. So, and you have a mission after completion of this FDP. So what are all the mission statements to achieve it, and program educational objectives, and finally the program outcomes. What do you want the students to learn? That is what the course structures and the syllabus. How can you best help students to learn it? Through learning activities. Through some activities, so learning should happen. So that's what we used to conduct our activity-based assessment for every course. How will you know that whether they have learned? Through the what? An assessment. Through what? Either internal, we keeps on giving about some assessment tools like we used to conduct quizzes, assignments, model tests, or case studies, or a group projects, or a group assignments. Based on that, what we are going to assess it. Frequent and critical stages of quality and effective feedback. At the end, we will take about the feedback to interval and improve the outcomes. So this is what an outcome-based education. As a teacher or as a faculties, we want our students to learn well. So what do we mean by learning well? What is that we want our students to learn well? How to teach or make them learn well? So next slide, I think what are the qualities of the teacher? I will show you. We need to design, develop, implement and evaluate the instructions that facilitates our students to learn well what is intended. We should design a curriculum in such a way that, or we should develop, and it should be implementable, and it should be evaluated also. So this is how we should prepare a curriculum. So then only what one can learn well through some activities. So simply what continuously engaging one hour, it's of no use. So by conducting some activities, or by giving some group activities, or by giving about some case studies, so then only what what? The learning will happen. So this is what, as a teacher, one should know this. We have to assess the extent to which our students' learning, what is intended. So then only what the learning should happen. Otherwise, no. We wish to improve the learning by our students, we need the metrics for this. So that's what an assessment tool is. A framework useful for all the above concern is finally what it is, an outcome-based education. Spade, William G. Spade said that outcome-based education means clearly focusing and organizing everything in an educational system around what is essential for students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experience. Shift away from what? The rote learning. So the traditional learning to the learning activities. So that is what shift away from what? The rote learning. So the learning experience or the learning should happen through some activities. This means that starting that clear picture of what is important for students to be able to do, and then organizing a curriculum, instructions and assessment. Based on your inputs, one should design we should frame out the curriculum should be in such a way that curriculum, instructions and assessment to make sure this learning ultimately happens. So this is what an outcome-based education. What is outcome-based education? Outcome-based education, OBE curriculum. So what the student should be able to do. And we have an attributes, that is graduate attributes, we call it as the program outcomes. And assessment, how to measure what the student has achieved. So all these are what some of the assessment methods. Through projects, through conducting some tutorials, through research, or on-site visits, industrial training, demonstrations, quizzes, study tools, practicals, lab exams, some lectures, field works, individual assignments, tests, debates, case study, group assignments, open book examination, field trips, oral questions. All these are what it is. Some of the delivering activities, or we can call it as the assessment tools also. This is how we are evaluating at the end of the course or at the end of the program. So some of the assessment tools, whether the student has learned or not. So some of the key constituents of outcome-based education. One should have a clear vision. So in order to achieve the vision, they have vision statements. Next, program educational objectives, the program outcomes. That is graduate attributes, that is program outcomes. This course outcomes represents the number of courses it is. Continuation of the OBE framework. This is industry and professionals' inputs and feedback. So then we are preparing about the curriculum. Through the internal and external stakeholders, we are designing a curriculum. Mission and vision. First, we will frame a vision of a particular department or a particular college. Then, in order to achieve the vision, we have a vision statement. So, depending upon the inputs, what we have taken, the stakeholders, we call it as both internal as well as the external stakeholders, along with our the PEOs, the student outcomes, and finally the course learning outcomes. Improvements, that is what assessment and evaluation. We have some institutional assignments, program assessment and course assessments. Outcome-based education, it isn't what we just teach, it's more what students learn. In a nutshell, outcome-based model is learner-centered rather than a teacher-centered. So OBE results in continuous quality improvement, assessment, planning, implementation, and the mentor. Engineering education, the role of the faculty. This is applicable to other factors. So one should, as a faculty, you should be very good in teaching, should be mentoring, that is counseling the students and networking with respect to what the other premier institutes or industries, and he should be very good in research also. And some leadership qualities, industry interaction, along with the collaboration. See, OBE induces a significant change in the role of faculty. Earlier, the faculty only just teaches and then go. Nowadays, it's not so. It is not just limited to classroom engagement and in a course. Teacher characteristics, one should have a knowledge, experience, and we should motivate the students also, and diversity as well as depth in the content. Student characteristics also there, talent, one should have talent, study skills, the previous knowledge, attitude, and 3R, that is the research proficiency there. And some curricular factors, teaching philosophies, facilities, that is infrastructures, and evaluation criteria. Institutional factors, facilities, again the infrastructure, the curriculum, the colleagues, governance, the quality or visibility of the outcome. Global changes and expectations from engineering education. And some of the pedagogical practices here. Through somewhat ICT tools, instructional design, and the learning style, that is tutor, assessment, study management, classroom management, and multimedia usage. The learning, domain knowledge upgradation, handling prerequisites, application of technologies, that is the application of technologies, ICT, problem solving skills, and developing a e-learning content are self or incremental learning. As an engineer or a OBE, outcome-based education, one should solve about the complex engineering problem. Some simple example I have given here. Complex engineering problems, examples like global warming, pollution, traffic problems, and transportation. So this is what ultimately what it is, an outcome-based education. Some global challenges we should accept and we should try to solve about some of the complex engineering problems. Time to what? Upgrade this. As a teacher, as a faculty, we should upgrade it. So rather than the traditional teaching, so we should know the outcome-based education, whether the student has learned or make them to learn. We should motivate them, we should mentor them, we should counsel them. So this is what time to upgrade. As you all know, the program outcomes, 12 program outcomes, the engineering knowledge, problem analysis, design and development of solution, conduct investigation of complex problem, model to usage, engineering society, environment and sustainability, ethics, individual and teamwork, communication, project management and finance, and lifelong learning experience. Only the first 5 program outcomes with respect to the professional course, and rest 7 are the non-professional. Relation between POs and COs. First we have a vision, then vision, POs and COs. It is bidirectional. We take ulta also, take a direction also. When assessed, the course outcomes or the course completion, that is the individual course. That is with respect to what 5 days what we are conducting FDP. Each day we are going to assess. So that's what it is, individual course. At the end of the FDP, after completion of 1 week FDP, we are going to assess. That is what the program outcomes. That is program educational objectives after few years of graduation. Assessment tools here, that is end of course survey, student comments, rubrics, etc. So these are some of the assessment tools. The scope for improvement. Finally, the last thing it is for outcome-based education. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn. So this is what an outcome-based education is. So this completes our outcome-based education. Do you have any questions? education is one should learn based on what the feedback from what either industry or alumni or employer. So that is what in the second slide we have shown the good characteristics of good engineers. Okay, thank you.
On behalf of organizing committee, I thank our HOD Dr.Chandrashekar Patil sir for his valuable, insightful knowledge impartation on outcome-based education. I thank you, sir.